right, so section 3.5, part 1. Okay, what is slope? Okay, when we talk about the slope of a line or the slope of something in real life, what is the slope of something? Yeah, Sai?
A height or mountain?
Okay, it might have something to do, height or how high or how say something rises might be part of it. Yeah, Liam?
Rise and run of a line.
Okay, it has to do with the rise and the run, so we're going to talk about that. How about like if you just had to explain it very simply to somebody like that really didn't understand like rise and run, like if you wanted to.
3 words.
Order of operation.
Shannon, what were you going to say?
I was going to say incline.
Yeah, it's like the incline or the steepness of something, right? So slope basically measures how steep something is. All right, so think of like a wheelchair ramp, right? Going up into a house, it has a certain steepness. Okay, and there's building codes that it has to have a certain rise to run, okay, to be an appropriate ramp, okay, wheelchair ramp. You might talk about steepness on, like if you're hiking, okay, certain trails they measure how steep they are. If you're ever out in a car, have you seen those signs on the side of the road that say like 6% grade or 10% grade? That's measuring how steep the road is. Okay, so these measurements, they're important for like for a truck or something. Not so much for cars.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's also a sign that has a picture with a line.
Yeah, it has like a little line under it. It's like slanted because the truck is going up or downhill. Okay, so on your notes where it says slope is,
Yeah.
fill in everything that's in bold that's
I
underlined.
think that those 3 words I was talking about was rate of change. A lot of times you hear people talk about slope as the rate of change. Or like Mr. Hager said, it's going to measure that steepness.
Why don't you just put the number 2? For 2 points, why don't you just put the number 2?
So if you want to write 2 points, you can. No one's stopping you.
Okay, and when we start to look at slope, there's really 4 different cases if I ask you to describe the slope of a line. Okay, so we'll take a look at the different cases that can happen. 2 of them we kind of talked about yesterday, what special cases when we graph. Okay, we're going to see those same special cases today. All right, so when you're asked to find slope, okay, a couple different ways you can do it. Okay, how you find the slope depends on what they give you. Right? You might have a problem where they give you a picture and say, find the slope. Okay? Or you might have a problem where they give you a table and say, find the slope. We would do each of those problems a little differently.
That actually makes me a little nervous. Just looking at that.
Okay, so one way you can find slope, if you're given a picture, okay, very easy way you can just count something, is this formula. And I heard some people say it when they said rise, like how high something goes, and run.
So guys, on your thing, you have that box. It's got those little like equal signs and stuff. We're going to get to that in a second. It's just covered up right now. So you just want to write in on your sheet if you can where it's bold there. Write in, squeeze in that first box when you have a graph. And then you have that one little line, that little blank line there. You can write rise over run.
Okay, so rise, side to your left a little bit with the cabinet that's open. So when we're talking about rise, okay, that has to do with moving left and right. Okay, rise is your x-axis. I'm sorry, rise is your y-axis, okay, up and down. Run, that's the left and right. Okay, that's the x-axis.
You guys, just so we're clear, on your thing, you have this box, right? You had to write in when you have a graph, then you want a line right here, then you want a line right here. You got a line right here, rise over run. Just make sure you fill on the top and the bottom on that line. And then you have blanks to fill this stuff in.
All right, so anytime that you move left or right, that's the run, okay? Moving left and right. The moving up and down, that's your rise, okay? And the way I remember that is think about rise up, like if something rises, rising means it's moving vertically, right? So that's your up and down. Now there's two directions you can move for rise, and there's two directions you can move for run. If you head to the right, okay, that's a positive value. Okay, just think of your x-axis if you go to the right. If you head to the left, that's negative. Okay, if you move up, that's your positive direction. And then if you move down on the y-axis, that's negative. Okay, so that'll be a little easier once I show it to you in a picture where we actually count the direction we're moving.
Honestly, that makes me like.
It'll be okay, Sam. Don't worry. Mr. Roy and I will make it very simple. As simple as we can. Okay, so this idea of counting rise and run, that works perfect as long as you've got a picture. Okay? I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I can count. But if I don't have a picture, and all I have is coordinates to go off of, or a table, we're going to have to use more of a formula. Okay, because we're not going to have a picture to look at. So if you want to find the slope of the line, and all they give you is 2 coordinates, okay, they'll give you a point and another point that's on the line. If you want to find the slope of the line that goes through 2 points, that's your formula. And the formula is y2 minus y1, that's in the top, over x2 minus x1.
So guys, on your thing, you have 2 bullets under the. So you got to write this in yourself. Right? There's no light. You're just going to squeeze this in. It's like you did up here. And you have coordinates. For that first bullet, you're going to write label the coordinates x1, y1, and x2, y2, and then plug them into the formula. That was the second line. Then on the bottom, you just have this line. So on the top of the line, you want to write y2 minus y1. On the bottom of the line, you want to write x2 minus x1.
Now, are these 1s and 2s exponents? Sometimes people get confused with that. I've seen that in the past. Kyle, what do you think? No, they're not exponents. These 1s and 2s, they just represent first x, first y, second x, second y. That's all. When we do an actual problem, all these values will be numbers.
And guys, in that formula, all right? Now, has anybody ever seen that, the formula right there, the slope formula? Has anybody ever seen this written differently? Anybody? Yeah? Well, you always want to make sure your y's and your x's, but if you do y1 minus y1 minus y2, x1 minus x2, that's fine. As long as your first y coordinate, you got to make sure wherever you put first has to be first in both of them. So if it's y, if you're using the first y here, you better use the first x here. You can't use the first y coordinate here, then use the second x coordinate here. All right, if you're gonna do it one way on the top, you're gonna do it the same way on the bottom. All right, but if this way works for you, that's fine. I think you can do it a lot of different ways, but as long as you're consistent, that's the only way it's gonna work.
All right, so earlier I said there's 4 different types of slopes to a line. This is one. Did anyone have a guess what kind of slope this is versus something like that?
The first one's negative, the one you just drew is positive.
Other way around.
Other way around.
Okay? But you're on the right idea with the words, okay? This is a positively sloped line. How do we know it's positive? Think about as you head to the right, what happens to your line? It heads up. Now look at this one. As I head to the right, what happens to my line here? It goes down. Okay? So if a line slants up as you go to the right, that's a positive slope.
So guys, where it's written in bold and underlined, you just got to fill in those blanks on your notes. So you're gonna write slants up on the first blank, second blank you're gonna write right, and then the last blank you're gonna write positive slope.
Okay? And what did I just say? If it slants down as you go to the right, what kind of slope is that? That's a negative slope. And I think we've got a couple pictures. Okay, so positive slope. We just talked about that one. Negative slope. There's a picture of it.
So guys, on the bottom, on the front side of your notes, there's 4 graphs, right? Draw right on top of that first graph, write positive slope, and then draw a line. It doesn't have to be exactly like that. As long as you have that graph, that line going up to the right, that's all we're looking for. It doesn't have to be exactly like that. Just draw a graph on there that gives you an example of what a positive slope looks like.
Do you want to?
And then if you want to write the description below it, the line rises from left to right, you can do that. You don't have to, because you already wrote that already in your bullets. So on the top of the graph, write positive slope, and then draw a line in that coordinate grid. That's a positive slope. Right next to it, draw one that drops down to the right. That shows that you have a negative slope, and make sure you write above it. If you want to write that stuff in at the bottom, you can. You don't have to.
Okay, so what else can a line do besides rise as it goes to the right or fall as it goes to the right? There's 2 other options besides these. What were you going to say, Vanessa?
Up or down?
Okay, it could be perfectly straight up and down, or what other kind of line? Or it could be horizontal. Okay, those are the last 2 cases. So the one that Kyle just mentioned, horizontal. Okay, you've got a spot on your notes, you can write that in. A horizontal line, it doesn't slant up, so it's not positive, but it doesn't slant down, so it's not negative. What's the only number that's not positive or negative? Right in the middle? 0. Okay, so a horizontal line has a slope of 0. Okay, that's the 3rd type of slope you could have. And Vanessa, what did you say the 4th one was? Vertical. Now, vertical is as steep as you can get. Right? You can't get any steeper than vertical. In fact, it's so steep we don't even describe it with a number. Does anyone know it's a word we use to describe how steep it is? Shannon?
Undefined?
Yeah. Okay, an undefined slope is a vertical line. And remember yesterday we talked about how to graph these kinds, right? These were our special cases. Does anybody remember what a horizontal line, what the equation is? It was a letter equals and then a number. Does anybody remember what letter for horizontal?
X is Y.
What was
Y
it?
equals number.
It was y equals a number. Yeah. And how about for a vertical line?
X equals number.
Very
It's like
good.
that, the line is always opposite of the axis. Now guys, on today, when we go over stuff tonight on homework, any review we do on the test on Thursday, it's going to ask you, I'm going to go up a little bit, describe, that'll be the first direction you get when we're doing something like this, it'll say describe the slope of a line. So you can tell Mr. Hager and I one of 4 things. Is it positive? Is it negative? Is it 0? Or is it undefined? Those are your choices. So when we ask for describe, in the directions say describe the slope of a line, that's what we're looking for. It's like you're going to tell us that it's one of those 4 things. That's all you have to do.
Was that highlight before?
No, Mr. Hager just did that. All right?
Okay, does everybody have the four types of slopes? And that's it, there's nothing other than those four. Okay. All right, so example one says describe the slope of the line and then actually find the slope.
You said that we were doing something.
Now, guys, because we really want to illustrate what the slope looks like, you're not always going to get these arrows that show you, if it's up or down, left or right. Sometimes you're going to, like the next set of the next two we do, the next set is, you're not going to have these nice little arrows on there to tell you how far you went. You're actually going to have to count the lines yourself. All right, but we want to make sure you guys understand. That's why we're doing these couple first. But the next set we do isn't going to have those arrows. It'll still have the line, the slope of the line. It's just not going to have those arrows to tell you what the rise and the run is.
All right, so anyone think they can tell me what kind of slope that is? Kyle? Yeah, it's a positive slope. Okay, positive because it's going up as you go to the right. Now, when you have a picture, you don't have to use this formula. Okay? When you have a picture, we can do this. Okay? What did I just circle? When you have a picture, you can do, what are the two words? Rise, over, run. Now, in this one, they actually count it for you. Rise is left to right. Run is up and down. Okay? So you're trying to find, how do you get from here to here? Okay? What's the rise between these points? How far up and down between them? 4. Yeah. You have to go up 4, right? You can just count 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, I would do the rise first, guys. Don't do the run first. This is the order it goes. We're going to do the rise first.
And what about the run? How far left to right? 6. Now, we always leave our slope as a fraction, but if we can reduce it, we should. Yeah, and how'd you get that? Yeah, divide the top and bottom by 2. So the slope of that line is 2/3. Okay, how about this line? Positive slope, negative slope, 0, or undefined? Negative, because it slants down. Okay, so what, Vanessa, what would be my slope here? Just tell me the rise first. -3, right? You're going down 3. And somebody else tell me my run. Marissa? 2. And that's my slope, -3/2. Can I reduce -3/2? No. There's no number that goes into both of them. Okay, so any questions on how to do it when they give you those arrows to follow? Okay, anybody else need to copy anything there? All right. So now, as Mr. Roy just said, the second example, same type of problem, but you're going to have to count yourself. Okay, they don't give you the arrows and do it for you.
Oh yeah, you guys gotta draw the line. You can make that one bit. They gotta draw the line on there as well.
Okay, is everybody good with what's on the left? Can we see it now? So just draw, what I would do is just draw those 2 points and then, make a line the best you can, or use your ID, just draw a line right through them.
You have one coordinate at -4, 3. The other coordinate is at 1, 1.
Okay, so how about Sabrina? What kind of slope is this? You don't have to tell me exactly, but just describe it. Yeah, it's a negative slope. And now Mr. Roy gave you a suggestion. Which one should you do first, the rise or the run? Why should you do the rise first? Why?
Because math says so.
Well, think about the formula.
I know what you're saying.
Think about go ahead, keep going. Why do we do the rise first?
Because
Tell me the math.
for the rise,
What's your formula for slope?
for the rise, it's where you started, and the run is where you stopped. You went
So, I think what you sort of mean is that's just the way the formula is, right? It's rise over run. You should just do the rise first.
Yeah, since rise is in the top, take care of that first. Run is in the bottom. We'll do that second. All right, so if I'm going to do my rise first, I'm going to start here.
Now, before
Go here.
Mr. Hager even goes and does that, he can write in. He knows it's going to be. Chances are, he knows it's going to be a fraction. He can put his fraction bar. What else does he know? Someone tell me where it is in their hand. What else does he know? We just figured it out. It's going to be a negative. I'm going to put my negative number on top. That way, even if I count wrong or something, I'm not going to forget that negative sign. I'm not going to forget it. So now I know I'm going to start, because I'm going down, I want to start from this point and go to that point. Now, how many lines, because when I do this, I want to go down to the line on the coordinate grid that the other point is at. Let me say it again. I want to go down the line on the coordinate grid where the other point is at. So, Maggie, how many lines am I going to go down to get to the other point that it's on? I want to get to the, see this point right here? On this line. How many from here down do I have to go to get to the other line that that point's on? How many am I going down? 2, right? I'm going to go down 2. And since I'm going down, I know that it's negative. I want to go down the number of lines to get to where the other point is. Or I might go up the number of lines to get to where the other point is. Now, I got to go across to get to the actual point. How many, Si?
up to.
Up 2? No, I already did the 2.
Oh, across.
How many?
I feel stupid.
How many, Si?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel stupid.
You're not stupid. Here's my slope, negative 2 over 5. I don't have to make the top and the bottom both negative. By making that top number negative, I'm all set. All right, so this one's a little bit different. We had to find out for ourselves. All right, it didn't give us the arrows. We had to figure that out ourselves this time. Let's take a look at the next one. Everybody good with this?
Yep.
I can go down?
Yep.
Same thing, all right? On your guided notes, all right? On your guided notes, you don't have the line, just like the last one. You're going to draw the line in yourself, all right? The coordinate here is 3, 3, and the coordinate here is negative 3, 1. Mr. Babe, do you want to pause that? Please?
All right, who thinks they got the description of the slope?
Positive.
Yeah, Liam.
Positive.
Yeah, this is how many people got positive for the description? Yeah, good job, positive. All right, now, slope is usually what kind of number? It's a fraction. So why don't we put that fraction bar in, like Mr. Roy said. Okay? You got to go from here to here. What should I do first? Let's do the up. How many up do we have to go? Do anybody think 4? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep. So my rise is 4. And how about the run? Kyle? 6.
Which turns into 2 or 3.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any questions on why it's 6?
I looked on here, so what ended up happening is instead of getting 6, I got 10. Like,
Okay, now what can you do with that slope? Instead of leaving it, what could you reduce it to? 2/3. Question? You guys have a question?
Wait, that's it?
So that's it. That's your slope.
Oh, that'll be a lot more, a lot more.
Nope, that's all you have to do to find the slope.
So again, guys, that was the first way. That was the first way that we talked about. All right? We're given a graph, we're given a picture, and we just gotta count. Now, what was the other way we talked about at the beginning of our notes?
Wait.
All right, not the equation. We use the equation. All right, then you're just going to be given. This is going to be given coordinates, right? So let's take a look. If you're given a so we're going to give you a table with a bunch of points on it, a bunch of x and y's. Here's the thing: you can pick any 2 sets of coordinates, any 2 you want. Now, when we're doing these, obviously, just for the sake of we're doing it all together, we're all going to pick the same points. But for homework tonight, there's a couple on there like this. What Hannah picks could be completely different from the 2 points that Josh picks. What Babe picks could be completely different from what Ashley picks. So it doesn't matter. Huh?
There's probably going to be one K and B that are going to copy these ones.
Okay. So, same thing. We're going to use that formula we talked about. We're going to use that formula we talked about earlier. All right? The formula to find slope. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's take a look at that. So guys, the biggest thing, you don't have to write any of this stuff down, any of this down right here. The only thing you have to understand is you can pick any 2 sets, any 2 pairs of coordinates that you want. Any ones you want. But the ones we do now, we're all going to pick the same one.
Who can tell me why? Why can you pick any 2?
Because it's the same.
You'll be doing the same thing for homework no matter what.
What? No. It's gonna come with the same answer.
Yeah, it's gonna come out with the same answer no matter what because they have the same reservoir.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter
They're all in that line.
if you find the slope, pretend like you're standing right here. If you find the slope between these 2 points, or if you're standing here and you find the slope, it doesn't matter. It's exact because it's a line. If you were looking at something that wasn't aligned, that would be different. Okay, but when it's a line, any 2 points.
Yes, so it's any point on that line. All right, so let's take a look at it. On your sheet, example 3A, you have the x and the y. You just don't have the coordinates. So you have to write in these 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of coordinates. So 4 and 20, 7 and 14, 10 and 8, and 13 and 2.
I honestly
If you want to draw a line in to separate them, you can. You don't have to. I saw some of you guys did it. That's fine.
I honestly
All right. So, Dominic, give me one set of coordinates you want to use. 4 and 20. That's fine. Nini, give me another set. 10 and 8. All right. These are our 2 sets. Someone tell me, give me a raise in their hand. What's the formula we're going to use? Liam?
Rise over run.
Nope, not for this. That's where we have a picture. Vanessa?
Oh, isn't it like, I don't know, Emma, what were you saying?
Emma, what were you going to say?
y2 minus y1.
Excellent.
x2.
All right, don't put it as a thing on this, I always do that.
Okay.
y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. That's the formula we want to use. Now, what I do sometimes is I draw my line and I put my 2 minus signs in. Because even if you get y1, pay attention, even if you get y1 or x1 as a negative number, that still needs to go in as negative. The negative sign that's here, that doesn't like take the place of that. You still have to put in minus -2 or minus -5. Right? It just doesn't take, and then, like you said, Vanessa, it'll become positive. But a lot of people make that mistake. What I like to do is, I draw my line, and I put my 2 minus signs right away. I have to put the minus signs because they're part of the formula. It's just the way it is. All right, now, we'll label. Let's call, I want to call that 4, I'm going to call that x1. So, what does that mean for 20? What's 20 going to be? No? y1, right? It says it's y right here. There's my y1. That's going to make 10 what?
Your
x2.
Oh, excellent.
And then 8 will be y2. All right? If you did it the other way around, that's fine. If you wanted to do this as x1, y1, and do this as x2, y2, that's fine. Don't do this x1, x2, y1, y2. That's not correct.
So it doesn't matter the way you put them like
Exactly.
this.
Exactly.
But,
All right. So now, I'm going to plug in my formula now. All right, I'm going to plug them into my formula. Hannah, the top of my formula. What numbers am I going to put in there? Here's my formula. My y's, right? What's going to go here? What number? Based on what we wrote here. 8. Very good. And then over here? Good. Right? Y2, 8, Y1, 20. Very good. Babe, on the bottom, what number's going to go here?
On the bottom,
Yeah?
8,
I want X2.
10,
10, good. Nice job. And then my X1,
4,
4. Very good. I was consistent, right? I had my second Y first. I had my second X coordinate first. They're consistent. The second ones have to be first every time. The first ones have to be the other way around. All right? Now, I do subtraction. 8 minus 20. Positive number or a negative number? Someone tell me by raising their hand. Positive number or negative number? Nini? Negative. Why? 20 is bigger and that's got the sign, right? What do you get, Nini, when you do that? Negative what? Huh? Not sure? All right. Anybody else want to take a stab at it? 8 minus 20? 8 minus 20?
Negative 12.
Negative 12, good. Negative 12, right? Now, on the bottom, my answer going to be positive or negative? Positive, right? Because 10 is positive and it's bigger than 4, which is negative. I think someone just said it. 6. Now, there's something wrong with that. Everything we've done so far, all the math is correct, but we're not done yet. Vanessa, we can simplify it. What number goes in the both?
6.
6. I'm going to reduce by 6. Divide by 6. Divide by 6. All right? So this will be negative 2 over 1. This right here, guys, the slope of negative, this means the same thing as negative 2. I can take any whole, if I'm given a whole number as a slope and the number 1's not written there, I have to know that. A slope of negative 2 would mean go down 2, right 1. Right? Even though it's not written there, we need to know that it's negative 1. It's like my imaginary negative 1. All right? Plug it in the formula, you can do it. All right? Take a look at the next one. Here are your coordinates. All right? Negative 1, 2, 1 and 2, 3 and 2, and 5 and 2. Here's what I want you to do. Obviously, write them into your chart. Next thing I want you to do is set up your formula, right? Just like we did there. If you're not sure what the formula is, it's written on the front side of your notes. If you feel good enough to solve it, solve it. You don't have to. All I want you to do right now is get the numbers plugged in. Vanessa, you good? I want to pick 2 coordinates. I'm going to pick this. I'm going to pick that. Those are the 2 coordinates I picked. I'm going to call this x1. I'm going to call this, I keep doing it as an exponent. I don't want to do that. I always do that. x1, y1. x2, y2. Those are the coordinates that I chose. But when I do it, like we talked about before, I should get the same answer as you did, because all these points are on that line.
What's up with you guys in twos?
Oh, this is the example we picked. We didn't even come up with that. It was out of the book. All right, so it's y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. All right, my y2 is 2 minus my y1, which is 2. On the bottom, my x2 is 3, and my x1 is 1. 2 minus 2, 0. 3 minus 1, 2. 0 divided by 2 is what? 0. My slope is 0. The people get that? It's not a, when would it be undefined?
When X is all the same.
Say it.
If the number was.
Exactly. If the number's on top and the zero's on the bottom, that's when it's undefined. When the number's on top and the zero's on the bottom. Remember we said at the beginning of the year, number n, put the letter n and the 0. No, it doesn't work. It's undefined. All right? If the zero's on top, that's okay. If you plug this into your calculator, you'd still get 0. Side question? All right, can I look at it after? All right, so 0. Now, listen to me. What would your line look like? What would your line look like? If I was going to graph that, what's it going to be, Kyle? Horizontal, right? The slope would be like this. It'd be across like that. Look at the last one. Here's what I want you to do. Someone tell me, write them in, obviously. Write those in on your chart.
See, you should listen to me. I asked you a question.
I did listen. I said I'm going to look at it after.
What? You just said that.
I said I'm going to look at it after.
What? I heard you.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ashley.
I actually did too.
All right, so let's look at this. Josh, give me a coordinate you want to use.
They're all negative.
-3, -3? All right.
Zero.
You want that one?
Yeah.
-3, 0, okay. How about Natalie? Give me a coordinate you want to use.
I don't like those circles.
-3, -3. That's what Natalie wants, Mr. Hager. All right. Ashley, what do you want to be x1?
-3.
Which one? This one or this one?
And the bottom one.
The bottom one.
Yeah.
This will be x1? All right. So that means x2 is going to be this -3. Okay.
I don't like that.
This is obviously going to be what then? What's this going to be? What's the 0 going to be? y1. And then this guy right here will be y2. All right. On the top, remember, I write it down because I forget sometimes and I got to see it. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. y2, Antonio, what's y2?
It is -3.
Thank you very much, sir. You're a good man, Charlie Brown. All right, how about y1? Dominic, what's y1? y1 is 0. I agree. Shannon, what is x2?
X2 is
-3.
-3.
And then x1 is going to be -3 as well. Everybody with me so far? Antonio, yes?
I'm
On the train. I know, sir. I'm going to look at it after, not right now, though. All right, so one little thing I got to do. All right, one little thing I got to do before I can go any further. Anybody see what I should do?
No.
No one sees it?
Oh, yes.
On the bottom? Go ahead.
2 plus positive. On the
Right here, right? Make these two negatives, make them a plus.
positive, not
Right?
plus.
Make them a positive, according to the... You're very demanding today.
Yeah.
You're making my head split
Why does she not? Really?
like a
Oh,
axe. All right, -3, -3 minus 0. -3 minus 0. -3. Right? You owe someone money, you don't give them any, you still owe them money. All right? So -3 on the top. On the bottom, -3, Antonio, stay with me, man. -3 plus 3. 0. Uh-oh. Number on top,
Undefined.
no, right?
Sorry.
Remember, it's okay, Vanessa. Number on, let me say it again. Number on the top, 0 on the bottom, that's undefined. That's gonna be undefined. Number on top, all right, number on top, 0 on the bottom, that's a no, that's undefined. All right? So, slope-intercept form. Someone tell me, raise your hand, we've already talked about it a couple times this year. What is slope-intercept form? Vanessa? Very good. On your notes, you have, write in y equals mx plus b. And you have the arrows. Make sure there's an arrow coming off the m. Make sure there's an arrow coming off the b. Make sure you set it up that way.
It
Now,
already has that answer, the answer.
it already has the answers on there, right? So m is your slope, and then b is your y-intercept. So the number with x, all right, the number with x is always the slope, and then the number that's just a number, it has no variable attached, it's the regular old number, that's going to be your y-intercept. All right, this is where, when we get into this a little bit more, this is where the line will cross the y-axis on the coordinate grid. That's where it's going to cross at that y-intercept. All right, and the slope, that's just the steepness of the line. All right, now, very important, this right here. Sometimes, like we wrote up here, you don't have to write this down, but you might have to rearrange the formula, right, to get it in y equals mx plus b. You might get something that looks like this. You might have 2x plus y equals 5. That's not in y equals mx plus b form. All right, we have the y is going to be on the left-hand side, which I agree with. That's fine. Then I got my equal sign, but then my x should be the next thing. Look what my x is on the left-hand side. Vanessa? Subtract 2x, right? Minus 2x, minus 2x. Y equals. Can I do negative 2 and 5? Can I combine those two things? How come? One's an x and one's a number, right? But I got to make sure when I write it out, what has to be right after the equal sign? The negative 2x, the x, right? That's just the way the formula is. That's just the way it works. Negative 2x plus 5. Now that's rearranged into y equals mx plus b. So you've got to make sure, sometimes you might have to rearrange. Sometimes you might have to do that. Let's look at a couple examples before we have to go. All right, first one. All we're doing for these ones, guys, number one, identify if it's in slope-intercept form. If it's in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b, we're good. Then all we have to do is write in what the slope is and write in what the y-intercept is.
It is, slope is 3x.
Oh, wait a minute, son. Wait a minute, you're going too fast for me. You're confusing me. All right, so I agree with Sai, yes. Liam, you okay back there?
Stop flirting.
Antonio, you read my mind. Sorry, Liam. Sorry, Vanessa.
No, I'm not Emma. Right.
Huh? I said sorry, Vanessa.
No, but I'm not Emma.
Oh, okay. I see. I get it now, wow.
Yikes.
They're burning each other. All right, so let's look at this. My children, we're almost done. I need like a couple more minutes of your focus, and then we're done. All right? Now, we agree it's in slope-intercept form. Everyone agrees, right? Yeah? Yeah. All right.
Correct.
So, Ashley B, do you think you can identify the slope? Slope is m, right? It's always going to have what letter with it? We're always going to know it's a slope because it has this letter with it. Has the x with it, right? So now we just got a hint from a few people, Ashley. It's don't put the x, or we only want the 3. All right?
I just put the x. I was gonna say that.
You don't need the x. The x is not part of the slope. The x is just a little hint to say, yep, it's right here. The slope's right next to me. This is it. This number right here that's next to me, that's the slope.
That's right.
So slope is 3. You don't need the x. The x is just a hint to tell you that that's the slope. Now, Y-intercept is just a plain old number. Who can tell me by raising their hand?
Me,
Emma.
-4.
-4. There we go. All we're doing is identifying what the slope and the y-intercept is. Slope always has the x attached, and then the y-intercept is just a regular old number with no variable. Let's go to the next one.
You should show us all.
Now, slope in this one. Slope always has what letter attached? Do you see an x there?
Zero.
Slope is 0. There's no number with x there. The slope's going to be 0. Bang. What's the y-intercept going to be? What's the only choice you have? 6.5. I know you're already nervous about next Monday night. I understand. You got a big game coming up. I know you're nervous. It's okay. Your mind's not here. It's okay. We're going to take it easy on you next Monday night. Okay?
My mind is never here. You don't treat
All right. So y-intercept is 6.5. The first two that we've done. Ariel, the first two that we've done were both in y equals mx plus b form. What do you think's going to happen on the last one?
It's not gonna.
It's not going to be. But we already kind of did one like this. This is only going to have one step. It's only one step to get this in slope-intercept form. Someone tell me what that one step is by raising your hand. I've heard from Vanessa an awful lot tonight, and I appreciate it. Liam? Add 5x to both sides, right? Add 5x. Add 5x. Liam, when I rewrite that, what's my new equation going to be?
Y plus 5x equals 3.
Y equals 5x plus 3. There's my y should be first, then my equal sign, then my number with x, then just my number. Ashley A, give me the slope. Excellent. Very good. And last but not least, I'm going to put the pressure on Howie to end it off today. Oh, she's not even done yet. She's getting mad. Howie, what's the y-intercept?
3.
Good. There you go. Now listen. Look at the board and listen. Tonight, homework is obviously just like the notes we did today. There'll be a couple where you have to find slope given a picture, a couple where you have to find slope given a chart of coordinates, a couple y equals mx plus b, identify the slope and y-intercept, then one review from yesterday. The last problem, you have to find the x and y-intercept, right? Set it equal to 0. Look at the board and listen. You're not listening, Antonio. No, you're not. Remember, I'm going to say it again. Test on Thursday. All right? Half day Friday, we're still going to have class. Just like we did the week of Thanksgiving, right? Class is going to be an hour long on Friday. If you don't finish the test on Thursday, you'll have an opportunity to finish on Friday. And also, we'll do an MCAS. KD!